Hey, you're listening to Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun, the podcast where purpose meets play and passion turns into power. I am your host, Rashawn Webb, but around here they call me Mama Shaun. The name was first spoken by a little boy who called me Mom before I even understood what that title meant. But now I carry it with pride as a mentor, a coach, and a mother to many. From running my child care center and my child care training company, coaching CEOs and leading with faith, I am here to help you grow with grace, build with purpose, and lead from the heart. So let's get mic'd up and dig in. Family, hey, welcome back to another episode of Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun. If this is your first time tuning in, pull up a chair. You've been rocking with me for a while. Welcome home and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about leadership, right? Not the kind with titles, badges, or business cards, right? And we know a lot of people that really thrive on being a leader, and they love the title, they love the badge, they love their name in lights. But we're going to talk about the kind that you choose every single day. Right? The leader that you choose to be. But leadership isn't just for a moment. It's a mindset, right? And I can remember growing up and always being told I'm a leader. And I'm like, how is that? How am I? I didn't understand what it meant. But I recognized that people, my friends, sat with me and talked with me and asked me for advice or wanted my help or wanted my opinion or what they think that they should do. I recognized that at an early age. And I remember talking to my mom and saying, I don't know what that means. I don't know what this means. I've never been here before. And so in doing that, that let me know that, and she told me, she said, well, people look up to you. That means that you have something that they need, and that makes you a leader. You have something to offer them. And I can remember being in the first grade and always wanting to help. And people, my classmates were, I need help. And so they were always wanting me to help them with something. And I never understood what that meant. And now I do. So leadership shows up in the smallest things and in the smallest of ways, right? A lot of times people want to be a leader because they get the office, they get the nameplate, they get the accolade, they get their name over the speaker, over the system. But a leader knows how to get in the trenches. A leader knows how to get dirty. They're not too big and high and mighty in leadership that they can't get dirty in whatever profession or whatever their calling is. I am a church girl and born and raised in it. And so I've seen pastors and ministers do some ungodly things, but yet their title is that of a leader. Well, first of all, being a leader is not in the Bible, number one. Number two, leadership is not in the Bible. So we look at the position of being in this position that is either granted to you because you qualify, or it's bestowed upon you because you've earned it, and this is who you're supposed to be. Two different things, right? I can take a leadership position because I have the accolades that say I'm qualified, or I can take the position because I have the heart that says I'm going to do well, because I'm leading with my heart, and it's been bestowed upon me to walk in this authority or this position. A leader also understands that I recognize that I have to be available for my people. I'm the kind of leader where I always tell my staff, despite everything I've got going on, I'm never too far away to come in and change diapers, do circle time, do an art project or any of those things, because I recognize that although I'm a leader, I'm an educator first, right? I can go into my center and be there, and I'll jump into, we don't do that. We keep our feet on the floor. We show love. We show kindness. when my teachers are very capable of doing this, giving the exact same command, right? And I'm not overstepping their boundaries. It's just as a teacher, as a leader, I see things differently. Leadership understands that sometimes we're tired, we still have to push through. So, how do you speak when you're tired? How do you respond when you're frustrated? I have to remember that although I am the boss, I don't I don't tell or say my staff work for me. I don't I'm African American, and we're not too far from slavery, post slavery era. So I don't like the term work for me. I don't like the way it rolls off my tongue, and I just don't like it. That's just a personal thing. But I let my staff know we work together, they work with me. I work with them, they work with me. I don't ever use the phrase that, my people, or my, anything that would imply ownership. But I let it be known we work together. Even being in certain circles and I have to use the term they work for me, it rolls off my tongue and it feels so dirty and so nasty. But my staff understand when I'm frustrated, and I've taught them that when you see me act a certain way, I'm never going to be ugly, rude, yell, any of those things. But when I get quiet, and that's the thing about leadership, is your staff need to know how you move. They need to know how you say things. They need to know what it means. You as the leader have to teach them, because flying off the handle because you're mad about something isn't going to fix the problem. Flying off the handle because something did not go the right way that it should have gone is going to make your staff say what and see what about you, right? I'm very big on psychological safety, and I'm very big on my staff enjoying coming to work. However, if I don't know what's going on, I can't make those moments helpful or be beneficial for them in coming to work. So I make sure that I tailor my frustration to me only. If I go into my office with the lights off, it's in your best interest to not bother me, because there's something right or wrong that is really affecting me, right? And so what do your staff see when they see you frustrated? How do they see you frustrated? How do you listen when it's easier to dismiss, right? For me, I equate myself to being a good listener. Now, granted, if you talk for a long period of time, my mind's going to wander off because I have other things that I'm doing. But if I'm in the here and now with you, you have my undivided attention. Okay? And so it's easier to dismiss a lot of things because it's not important to me, right? It does not affect me immediately, but that's incorrect, because the person bringing their sorrows to you, their woes to you, they need you as the leader to listen. Dreamgirls is one of my favorite movies that I love very much. I know all the words. And Beyonce has a song in there called Listen. And in there, one of the lines is, listen to the pain deep down inside, or the pain in my heart. As she is singing her song, she's giving her woes to her manager / husband. And it's in the song. Her woes is in the song. Her next moves is in the song. And she's saying, you need to listen. You need to listen. Right? So as a leader, my job is to listen. When my staff brings something to me, now, again, if it's something I cannot deal with at this moment, I'm going to let it be known. Let's put a pin in it. I want you to know I hear you. I want you to know that I'm listening to what you're saying, but I do have this deadline, but I will put a pin in it and we will come right back to it. Give me X amount of minutes, or give me this day, and let's talk about it, because it's important to you and I want you to know I'm here for you, right? Again, it's easier to dismiss it because it's not irrelevant to me, but it's relevant and important to your teacher, or to your staff, or your team. Leadership isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. Oh gosh, I don't know how many times I'm in leadership meetings and things and around other leaders, and I'm like, you're loud, you're so loud, I cannot hear your message. You're so loud, I can't hear what your woe is or what you're complaining about, or you're so loud that I cannot hear your message. Okay. And it's not about being, the loudest as in being vocal, but it's also the loudest in how you carry yourself, the spirit that you give off, the energy, the aura that you give off as a leader. That can also be loud. So let's talk about there's loud in three ways, right? There's loud in how I dress. There's loud in my countenance. And there's also loud in the delivery of my message. The loud in the dress. If I am a leader, I can come in loud with my clothes, revealing loud colors, and I can turn heads. No one's going to hear me or see me because they're going to be too busy looking at my cleavage or too busy looking at my this or my that, because I'm drawing attention away from the message and I'm drawing attention to the messenger, which is me. I can be loud in my facial features and how my countenance looks when I'm in a meeting, right? Or even the huffs and the puffs and the eye rolling and all those things that will take away from the person that's in the meeting, that's presenting or doing, the talking, and my countenance is the main star. I can also be loud with how I speak and enunciate my thoughts and my feelings. No one's going to hear you if you're loud. No one is going to hear your pain because you're expressing your discomfort in other ways, and it's taking away from the real reason of why we're here. It's about being the steady one. It's about being the one that through all the chaos, you're the one that's going to keep yourself sober, vigilant, mindful, watchful. You're going to keep yourself focused. And yes, there are times when it feels like your team can throw a fit, but you can't. Yes, it feels like there's times where your team can act a fool, but you can't. You're absolutely right. Because guess what? When it's time for you to show yourselves, they're going to look at you like, but last time you did and acted and said, and I'm like, I don't know if that's who I want to be under. I don't know if that's who I want to follow. You are a reflection of your team, right? How you present yourself is how your team is going to do it also. I let my teachers know all the time, just in case there's any whatever, if they have an issue or something that they bring to me and they say, I don't know how to handle this, or did I handle it right, or what would you do? Because they want to make sure that they handle it themselves correctly, because that's who they are. And number two, that they reflect the brand. They reflect me and how I conduct and handle myself. I'm a big believer in customer service. I feel like I am the queen of customer service. So I'm going to talk to the parent. Although we have a great relationship, they will always be a customer, a client. And I need to always remember that, right? Some days leadership looks bold and daring. Some days it looks like I got this. Some days it looks like can't nobody stop me, right? Other days it looks like restraint. I'm going to keep my mouth closed. I'm going to keep my facial features calm and pleasant because I want to make sure that I handle myself correctly and accordingly. And some days it looks like saying, "Let me pause before I respond. Let me pause because I'm about to say something and it's not going to be pretty. Let me stop because I'm about to rock their world and it's not going to look good for me because I'm the leader." Yes, you leader have to remain calm, confident. Yes, you the leader have to remain pleasant at all times. You don't ever have to get out of character to let your voice be heard. You don't ever have to go low and call people names just to make yourself and assert your authority. That's what little kids do. But yes, as a leader, you're going to get beat up. Yes, you might get criticized. But I personally went through a whole year of being bashed, my center being bashed through reviews for one of my staff members, not me. and some other things. And I'm just kind, and I had to hold my peace, and I did not want to, because the narrative was so ugly and so untrue. But as a leader, had I would have done what I thought I wanted to do, I would have lost everything, because I would have taken it further than them. I mean, taken it further than them. I mean, further, 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 further. Right? Because you came for me. A, I didn't send for you, and B, I didn't do anything wrong to you. And let's be clear. You don't need to be perfect to lead. Being a leader is not about perfection. Far from it. Because you're going to make mistakes. Because as a leader, you have people who are following you. And it's my job, your job, to know the people under you who are following you. One of the things I suggest, and I always recommend, is doing the love language quiz. Learn how your staff love. Learn how they like to be talked to. Learn how they like to be loved on. Learn what their love language is. Learn how they like to be treated. Just like, you want to treat people the way you want to be treated. Learn that about your team. When family members pass away, when there's sicknesses and all kinds of things, especially if you have a team of women. Let's say you are a guy and you got a team of women. Sir, I'm going to need you to be very, very mindful of when all the women are synced up. I need you to be very mindful of when calamity comes, that is that of being a woman. We need your sympathy. I worked for a pastor one time, and we had a conversation one day about some things, and I said, I've been dealing with a sickness, and I don't know what it is. And he's like, well, we're going to pray that everything works out, and blah, blah, blah. And so I finally got myself tested and found out that I had 25 plus fibroids. And I was tested like 2 different times, 2 different doctors, until finally someone was like, oh, no, it's 25. You got big ones and you got small ones. And I remember talking to the pastor about it one day. He was like, he was the kind of pastor where anything that you need to do female, we don't have to go into detail. Just take care of yourself. I trust you. Just do what it is you need to do. I don't have to know. But one day we talked about it, and I talked about it in detail, and he expressed some things to me. And he was like, do what you need to do. He's like, don't even worry about the center. Don't worry about your pay. Don't worry about nothing. Because I needed to take 12 days off to recover. I couldn't drive. I couldn't lift. A bunch of things I couldn't do because of the procedure that I had. But he was more or less just like, look, I get it. I've been there with my wife. Do what you need to do. Just, I'll check in with you. The center's fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Right? So male leaders, if you have women that you're working with, I won't use the term, but you have women that you work alongside with, show them love and respect. Understand that you're working with women. And by science, there are more of us than there are of you. So show some respect, women. If you are a female leader with men working with you, show them respect as well, right? It's about showing respect. Your title does not mean you're a dictator. Your title does not mean that you are a Napoleon Bonaparte. The title doesn't mean that you are anything in position that you can run and rule and rule with an iron fist and destroy. That's not what this is about. Okay? It's about you needing to be present. Leadership means I'm present. I'm here. I hear you. I see you. I'm there. I'm right here with you. I heard you say. I heard you need. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard. Okay? People may forget what you said in a meeting, but they will always remember how safe they felt around you. And I just had to do a training for Texas Rising Star, and the session was so amazing and so powerful. And although the topic was what it was, the atmosphere was different because of what was needed at that time. So although they may not remember the moment of what all we did, but they're going to remember how I made them feel, because they came up to me afterwards, gave me a hug, and said those words, and said this was the best training of the whole conference. So let me ask you, how do people experience you on hard days? Ooh, that's a big one. My ex used to say, how are you going to handle when mad day comes? And I remember saying like, what does, what? But that was a honest, valid question. And I always tell people, you don't experience you, we experience you. We know what it feels like to be you in your shoes. We know what it's like to be you and experience you when you're mad, angry, sad, ticked off or whatever the case might be. But do you know? How do you know? Right? Are you leading from ego or empathy? We have enough egotistical leaders in this world, all the countries. Okay. We don't need any more. Okay. We have enough. All right. Are your decisions reactive or intentional? As a leader, we are not to make decisions based on reactions and actions. And emotions. Never make your decision based on an emotion, because you're going to eventually pay for that later. And what I mean by later is something's going to be done that you're going to make it, you're going to make it rash, and you're going to have some regrets because you made it out of that one moment of upsetness or frustration or anger. And you're going to have to fix that, right? You're going to have to go back and be like, man, I made this policy because I was mad behind a parent. I made this policy because I was mad behind a staff member. No, 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 no. When you want to put something in place, have some data behind it, and don't make it out of your emotions. Yes, we're humans and yes, we've got feelings. Just because we're in leadership doesn't mean we don't have feelings. We absolutely have feelings, but we have to be mindful of when we use those feelings. Leadership isn't something you turn on at work and off at home. It's how you show up in every space you occupy. I don't ever go anywhere without being a leader or being the Mama Shaun, right? Mama Shaun is the mama, the leader, the caretaker. Mama Shaun is always on. There is no off button for her. Always on. Always, 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 always. Right? And it's just something in me that just ding, like it's just there. Right? It's for adults, for children, for babies. It doesn't matter. So in conclusion, if you're waiting to feel ready to lead, let me help you out. Leadership doesn't wait for readiness. It responds to responsibility. There's been several times where I've had to jump in and play Mama Shaun when I was like, look, I am on vacation. I am off. I am whatever. And it gnawed at me and gnawed at me. And my mother would always say, okay, come on, you can go and help. You can go be some. I'm like, no, these ain't my kids. I'm not finna do it. But something always let me know, no, this is what you're supposed to do. And I jumped in, and the parents or whoever was around me were like in awe because I was able to do something they could not do. Why? Because that innate thing in me that God gave me, I wasn't appointed to this because I'm qualified, because I've got the accolades. This was bestowed upon me at birth. There's a difference. And you need to know the difference of your leadership. You need to know, was this something that I walked into? Because you can learn to be a leader. That doesn't mean you're called to be a leader. A leader who is called doesn't necessarily need a manual, doesn't need a class. They don't need any of those things to walk in. That just going to a class help enhance what their already God-given ability is. All right, here we go. Mic'd up moment. Lead today like someone is watching, because they are. Someone is always watching how you respond. Someone is always watching how you respond to being cussed out, being told, whatever the case might be. Someone is always watching. Lead today like someone is watching. Because guess what, Booski? They are. They are watching you. So if this episode resonated with an experience you had, let me know. I want to know. I truly want to know. You are more than welcome to email me at childcaremedia@yahoo.com. You can send me a text message at 210-315-1206. That is my work cell phone number that I have access to only. Or you can leave a comment under this episode. But I want to know. Being a leader is such a responsibility that should not be taken for granted. All right. I want you to be good out there and make good choices and smile, because you don't know who's watching.